subjects, we're dealing with complicated systems. For the students here in the Parish Development Model Lab, work on these issues together with the ministry so that we have systems, monitoring, measurement. This core our belief in the Millennium Villages project in Ruhira, in Sinjiro district. It works. You can do it. Now you can do it even better, much better than was possible 10 years ago because of all of the added flow of data that is possible. So design systems that promote the local investments that are needed. When it comes to direct transfers to households, which is a part, but not by any means the whole strategy of local development, those also can be conditioned. And there are lots of good experiences on making sure the children are in school, making sure that children and parents are accessing local health services and so forth. So conditional transfers. On the actual mechanics of transferring funds, use electronic payments, by the way, so that things are much more easily monitored and can absolutely be directed without all of the difficulties of physical. This is basic, obviously. I'm not saying anything that isn't known, but I am saying design an information system and a strategy that opens itself up to a systems approach that gets to the health, the education, the local infrastructure, the measurement and monitoring, and that also can track the payments. And the ability to do this today compared to 5 years ago or 10 or 20 years ago is incomparably higher than it was. On all of the debates about investment banking, commercial banking, public finance, my own point of emphasis would be that there are many complementary kinds of investments that are needed for economic development, not just one. So different kinds of investments require different kinds of institutions. I spoke mainly about the public sector. When it comes to health, education, local roads, and other public investments, this requires a public finance approach. When it comes to business development, it's quite different. And so I think the complementarities need to be appreciated. There is no single point of departure. As I emphasized by listing the 5 kinds of capital investments, my point was not that you pick and choose which of those you like, but that they each enable and raise the marginal productivity of investments or the rates of return of investments of the other kinds of capital. Without education and health, there will be no profitable businesses, or very few, not anything that can meet the needs of a country with a population of 70 or 80 or 90 million people, for heaven's sake. So in that sense, there needs to be the range of investment institutions. Regional investment for capital to attract long increased saving rates. So I'm all for financial market innovation and development, as we heard. I'm all for more domestic resource mobilization. I'm also for long-term, external, low-interest borrowing so that the government this year, next year, the year after, can make sure that it can do the things that absolutely need to be done. In my own view, you should not go another year without a school-age child having access to school. Of course, what are they learning was a very good question. One of the things I would recommend for Uganda, and I'm going to recommend it for all of Africa, in fact, is to join the International Scholastic Achievement Testing and Monitoring Program called PISA, which is an OECD program that has 80 countries that every 3 years does an evaluation of what children are learning. I spoke with the head of PISA a couple of weeks ago before the African Union Summit and asked him to put together a plan for all African countries to join PISA. He did so. I'm going to take it up with the AU chair and the AU commissioner for education, because you should be benchmarked also against young people in other parts of the world. And this is a very important point, because as the questioner rightly asked, it's not enough to be in a classroom. It's a matter of actual learning as well. So I would actually take this opportunity to systematic monitoring of what learning is taking place. When you ask me, very interesting question, so what is China doing? I'll tell you one interesting fact about PISA, this comparison system on a 3-year cycle. It just released its report from the 2022 data. The top 6 countries are all East Asian countries.
Right.
This is the ones that score the highest in math, science, and reading. So quantitatively, they're actually learning in the classroom. And this is very impressive. It's China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, Korea, Japan, the top 6. It's amazing, actually. And we can learn from that. And I'm sure that this would be an added tool for giving that extra impetus. But the East Asian success is built on an East Asian education success. Let me mention a topic that I didn't mention. Do I have 1 more minute? I'm sorry, I don't want to keep the Prime Minister. So let me.
You have 2 minutes, Prof.
Let me mention a controversial topic, but I'm going to mention it because we're among friends and I want to discuss it. Your population, as you know, is growing very rapidly, 3.2% per year. That means a doubling time of just 20 years. The amount of saving that you devote just to racing to keep up, not to get ahead of it, but to keep up with the rapid population is extraordinary. 40% of your population is school age. Wow. It's 15% in the United Europe. It's actually 19% in the US, 15% in Europe. So the education bill is 3 times higher here just because of the age population pyramid. What will happen over time and what should happen over time is a reduction of fertility rates, especially through education and girls' education and girls' empowerment. This has happened everywhere. It will happen here. It will help a lot because you're racing in this incredible marathon where every generation is very large relative to the parental generation. And that's very hard to keep up that race over time. The population of Uganda, territorial Uganda, was 5 million in 1950. It's now 50 million, roughly. It will reach 100 million sometime in the second half of this century. But reaches 200 million, I don't know.
Thank you.
Awfully crowded. So my point, though, quite seriously, is get every child as soon as you can and then work as hard as you can. And we did hear in the last 3 days this odd point that there are educated people here looking for jobs that are unemployed, that received an education. My advice is make them teachers, put them in the classrooms, hire them, fill this country with teachers all over the country. It will transform Uganda. It will be a fundamental part of the transformation for the next 40 years. And I'm going to end on an optimistic note. It's not optimism, it's just a sound economic projection. You're going to make it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give him another round of applause. Thank you, dear panelists, Professor Sachs, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister, the Vice Chancellor, UNDP country rep. We've come towards the end of our dialogue. I want in a special way to invite Honorable Raphael to come and respond to the question on the PDM and invite our Right Honorable Prime Minister to close this dialogue.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pamela. Thank you, Professor Jeff, and the panelists. Right Honorable Prime Minister, there was a question from Pius about PDM. Is it true we have some leakages? Yes, there are some leakages. There is extortion by some of the implementers. There is bureaucracy and red tape. But I think, let's appreciate, I think Dr. Benuna gave us a figure. A loss of 260 million in a program of 1.05 trillion. Do your calculation. That's a margin of error of 0.02. Really, you need to give us a bit of encouragement on where we are going. It's not been an easy job. At the beginning, we were actually disbursing the funds through the accounting officers, the town clerks and the chief administrative officers. And that's where you had a bit of loss of up to 3 billion shillings. But, and big tribute to our accountability institutions. We put up a fight. With PDM funds, it is zero tolerance to corruption. Try it and you'll see how the entire government machinery will look for you. So we sent out that message, and I want to say, out of 3 billion lost, I think we recovered up to 2.9 billion. Now, secondly, we decided to change the modality. Instead of passing this money through the district accounting officers, we now send the money direct to the parish circles through the banks. But now we are even looking at, yes, it's possible from treasury to the circle on account. How? We are digitalizing the disbursement process. So if you talk to any of the banks, they will tell you, we've encouraged the banks to develop mobile wallets. Post Bank has the Wendy wallet, Stanbic, the Flexi Pay wallet, and so on. Now this means that money goes direct to the SACCO account on their digital wallet. And the SACCO leadership, chairperson, treasurer, secretary, are able to disburse without the beneficiary going to walk to the bank and sleeping at the bank. And this is already happening. Even that will have a few challenges here and there, but I think we are getting there. And finally, really call on, I think it was Dr. Suruma who mentioned this. This is why we have the PDM lab. There are things we as government shall not be able to do to monitor ourselves, to track ourselves. We have a tracker system within the PDM Secretariat. So even today, if I want to know how much money has gone out, I'll find out. Out of all the money that we got from finance, 100% was disbursed. Some was lost a little, as you have heard. But that's why we need Dr. Iria to help us. We must have vigilance. We must have research. We must have studies. There's nothing wrong with a student of development economics looking at what is this PDM in terms of the model, in terms of the design, in terms of the outputs, in terms of the challenges, and thereafter propose any remedies and so on. So for me, I'm glad that we have the lab at the academic institution, and we are ready as government to work with you. We shall partner with you so that we bridge these gaps, we close this challenge. We don't want even 1 shilling to get lost. You know, you can think it is 1 or 2 beneficiaries, but the noise you get can be really serious. So I give you the courage, the encouragement. Look at a program, just 2 years. We've only had 1 full year of 100 million. We're just about to disburse the next 100 million per parish. Just imagine that, designing a program countrywide. The Millennium Villages were just in Ruhira, in Sinjiro. And then we've scaled up to the entire government, to the entire country. Somebody was saying, why don't you pilot? Now, which parish did you want us to leave behind? Some of these are political questions which can be very tricky. So we've taken the bull by the horn, and we are succeeding, and I want to give you the assurance with PDM we shall succeed. I thank you very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister. It's my pleasure to invite you to close this wonderful engagement.
The Honorable Minister, all protocol observed, dear participants, as we draw the curtains on this high-level policy dialogue, I am filled with optimism and determination that the deliberations over the first few hours have been enlightening and productive, and I am grateful for the valuable insights shared by our esteemed keynote speaker, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, as well as all the distinguished panelists and participants. Thank you so much. The discussions should continue to deepen our understanding of sustainable development goals, accelerators, and provoke us to generate evidence-based insights that will undoubtedly inform our decision-making processes and catalyze action on Uganda's national commitments for SDG acceleration. The financing frameworks discussed during this dialogue offer a roadmap for mobilizing and allocating funds efficiently, ensuring that investments are directed towards areas with great impact on sustainable development outcomes. By embracing these financing mechanisms and exploring new avenues for resource mobilization, we can bridge the financing gap and fast track the achievement of our national development aspirations and the sustainable development goals. The PDM, as you have heard, offers a comprehensive strategy to uplift the incomes and the welfare of all Ugandans. We don't want to leave anybody behind. With its 7 pillars, the PDM addresses critical aspects such as infrastructure, financial inclusion, social services, and community mobilization. I'm happy that today's dialogue has offered us insights on the different areas of opportunity, mitigation, and improvement so that we efficiently deliver on the PDM. Moreover, our dialogue has underscored the pivotal role of science and technology in driving socioeconomic transformation and achieving the SDGs. Uganda is poised to harness the power of research and innovation offered by academic institutions and other research institutions to provide a strong foundation for advancing our digital agenda and ensuring that the benefits of research and technology reach all segments of society to accelerate progress. As we conclude this dialogue, I call upon all stakeholders government officials, we the policymakers, academia, the private sector, civil society, and development partners to translate our discussions into concrete actions. I also ask my office, through you and many others who are here. Biamugisa is also here. Biamugisa stand up for recognition. The one of SDGs. I want you to come up with a policy that will help us to further these actions, and we make sure that they are fully implemented. Finally, I want to thank Makerere University leadership and the other partners for organizing this high-level policy dialogue. Let us carry forward the momentum generated today and redouble our efforts towards an inclusive, developed, environmental-friendly society that Uganda needs. With these words, allow me to declare this dialogue officially closed. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Before the anthems, can I invite the Vice Chancellor some gifts to hand out? Kindly avail them.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, we know that you are a good lover of marathon. You run a lot. We have inside here a jersey for you to run. And after running, there is a coffee mug with Makerere emblem on it. Please make good use of them.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. Let's now stand up for the anthems. In reverse order, we will only have the one stanza of the Uganda anthem in reverse order.
Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister. May I request that we allow the Prime Minister and the speakers in front here to be ushered to the photo booth as she exits. All the speakers, Right Honorable Prime Minister, thank you very much. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, thank you very much. It has been an honor. Can we get the ushers to usher the wife to Professor Dr. Soni to accompany the team? May I also invite Dr. Biamogisha, Kano Nakalema, to join the team for photography outside. And then the rest of us will follow to exit. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.